Welcome, everybody, to the Monthly Movie Dispatch, the movie review show from friends that you can trust. Every week we get together, we broadcast a new review from a new movie, and we discuss other things that we like about it and other things going on in the film world. And I'm Nick Moffat. I'm here with three of my closest friends. It's Brandon Bowlby in New York,
How's it going?
Shaun Bowlby in Seattle,
Hey,
and Derek in Smoky Point,
Hey.
which is a real place.
Yeah.
Just kidding. No, it's the center of the world.
Yeah.
Smoky Point, Washington. So yeah, today is actually a special episode. We actually have all four of us on here today because we are doing our special end of the year episode. And you're not wrong. It is February, but we chose every year to do our end of the year episode in February or March. Last year was March because COVID pushed everything back. But we do our end of the year episode a little bit later, not at the end of the year. We do it at the end of the movie year because we are not professional critics. We do not get screeners. But we want to include as many movies that are part of the year as we can. So there are a handful of movies, foreign films or art house type movies that are all getting nominated for Academy Awards, but were just straight up not available to us until January and February. So. And I think there's still a few more
I
that
know, I was gonna say there's still some we're
definitely.
missing for sure.
which is just out of our control. But it's time for us to move on and start the next year. Weirdly enough, I think there are in consideration just because last year was so weird. I think there are a few movies in consideration for us that were nominated for Best Picture last year, but we just straight up didn't get to see them until like March or something. So. I think I'm talking about Judas and the Black Messiah and The Father, like movies like that. I think are
movies that I just
are
never
in
even
contention.
considered for my last year's list that were nominated and won some awards.
Yeah. So anyway, I'm really excited for this. I'm sure you guys are too. Raise your hand if you're excited for this. Yeah,
Very
yeah,
excited.
we're all excited.
Let's do it.
I feel like it was a great year for movies, though. I just want to say that like it was hard narrowing it down. Like
Yeah.
I had at least 25 that were like in serious contention. Shaun, I think earlier this week you said you had 30
like
something.
like 25 or something around there that I legitimately would be okay with being in my
Yeah.
top 10.
Jeez.
Yeah.
So many movies.
Real quick before we get started, though, I'm curious, how many movies did you guys end up seeing last year? Do you have that in front of you, or?
I stopped diarying mine on Letterbox, so I don't necessarily have it all.
What?
I don't probably
Brandon.
probably
What's
just
your problem?
50 something, 50,
How
60.
could you?
Sorry.
This was my biggest year. Like that on my letterbox at least. I saw 59 movies.
It's my biggest year too. I saw 61.
Yeah, I hit 100, but I'm always striving to hit 100.
Let's
So
go, Nick.
yeah, I got there. I got to 100. Last night I got to 100.
Nice.
So
It's 100,
That's-
100 2021 movies, right?
What was number
Yeah.
100?
Flea.
Ooh.
Nice.
Yeah.
I signed up for Hulu trial membership just for that purpose.
Nice. Big one
Using
to go
And,
out.
email address.
I didn't
And
even
you're
know
expo-
Flea was on there.
Yeah, no, I so many on there. And yeah, you're exposing me secretly. We do in February, so I can get to 100. Just kidding. But anyway, yeah, let's get started. So we're doing the top 10 show rules, where we're going to talk about the movie the highest it is. So we'll be punting it. So just as an example, let's say Brandon says Dune at number 10, and Shaun has it like at number 3 or something. Shaun would say punt, and then we wouldn't talk about it until Shaun has it the highest. So that's just how the punting system works. So yeah, let's just get started on it. So Brandon, you're going first. What is your number 10?
All right, so I decided to have a little bit of fun here and there through this top 10 list, and my big number 10 is The Mitchells vs. the Machines.
Oh.
Nice.
Not expecting a
Nice,
punt,
Brandon.
but
So happy.
it's an incredible animated film. This is like done by the Sony department that did Into the Spider-Verse recently. And they're so good with their stories, so imaginative with how they animate their films. It's just like endlessly creative, and it's just without a doubt one of the best animated and kids movies that came out this year, and it's incredible, really incredible.
Mm-hmm. Totally agree. I'm sad I didn't have the guts to put it on my list.
I still haven't watched it. I've been wanting to watch it with Phoenix, but he hasn't been willing to sit down and watch that one yet.
Great movie. I love the animation. Good pick. I'm glad you were able to squeeze it on there. So that was Brandon's number 10, The Mitchells versus the Machines. It's currently streaming on Netflix. Derek, what is your number 10?
All right. I'm going to be so happy if any of you guys have this on there. But my number 10 is Barb and Star Go to Vista Del Mar. I missed the review. I ended up watching it like way later. But, you know, there's not a lot of just straight comedies that come out anymore. And this one I just thought was it was so freaking funny and just like weird and creative and like had no shame in like their humor. And yeah, I just gave the movie a lot of props for existing. Like it's
super
great.
90s
really
comedy we haven't seen in forever.
Yeah, and it's really well done. Like it is really funny and I was laughing the whole time. And yeah. So
definitely another movie that I would have loved to be on my top 10 list.
Yeah, it's very funny. Like I miss comedies. I wish there were more comedy movies.
Yeah.
I miss comedies. It's so true somehow.
It is.
So that was Derek's number 10. Barb and Star Go to Vista Del Mar. I think that's actually on Hulu as well if you want to stream it, and also where you can rent it at other places. Shaun, what is your number 10?
Yeah, my number 10 is The Suicide Squad.
All right.
Punt.
2021 Suicide Squad.
Yeah.
You had the in there.
Yeah,
Makes sense.
It's a different movie.
You got a double punt.
Yeah. Okay.
All right. Awesome.
Nice.
Wow, I did not expect that, guys.
Number 10. My number 10 is Benedetta. So so Benedetta, I don't even know if any of you guys have seen it. It's the new Paul Verhoeven film. Have any of you guys seen it? Shaun?
I did see it, yeah.
Okay, Shaun shot. So Benedetta is the new Paul Verhoeven film. It's about a nun who believes she is marrying Jesus, who is married to Jesus. She like has these visions with him, and then she begins a lesbian relationship with another nun, and like it's based on a true story, so a lot of the stuff happened in it, but also the movie feels like a fever dream where you don't know what's real and what's not real. It's Paul Verhoeven is like obsessed with Jesus as a historical person, so there's just like a lot of like detail in there, but it's also like absurd on a weird level. There's a movie that came out in 2020 called Assassin 33 AD, which is one of the worst movies I've ever seen, but it's like a time travel Jesus movie, like propaganda movie, where these guys go back and like kill Jesus, and it's super low budget. It's very bad, but like I'm going on about it because like there's part of me that feels like they're related on some level. They're like they're kind of similar, except I think Benedetta is like a really good movie and has a lot of like big ideas in it, and I love how it doesn't really tell you exactly what's true, and even though it's based on true story, so or what's real, but yeah, so Benedetta is my number 10.
Yep.
Nice.
Really liked that movie too. It's, it is every bit it is what it sounds like. It's a Paul Verhoeven nun movie with a sword wielding Jesus decapitating people. It's pretty crazy.
How old is
it's
Paul
weirder
Verhoeven?
than you would expect, honestly, but
That guy's been making movies for so freaking long.
yeah,
Is he,
he's
like, in
very
his
old.
80s?
He's probably in his 80s.
Jeez.
Yeah.
I'm glad he was able to make this movie
cool.
before he quit making movies,
Yeah.
because
Did
he
he
went
quit?
away for a while. He went away for a while. He was fed up with Hollywood and went back to
Somewhere.
Austria
Yeah.
and made movies in Europe for a bit. Anyway, let's go on to our number 9s. So Brandon, what is your number 9?
Number 9
Yes.
is a documentary called Flee.
Hunt.
Kind of thought
Okay.
Shaun might put
Hunt.
Next.
Okay, so Derek, what is your number 9?
My number 9 was Dune.
Punt.
Okay.
Right,
Figured.
punts.
Where's your punt, Nick?
What?
Punts all around.
Kid
So
Hal.
I kicked that. Where are we at? So that Shaun, what is your number 10 or number 9?
My number 9 is Judas and the Black Messiah.
Hunt.
Nice.
And so my number 8 then is The Power of the Dog.
Hunt.
Okay, cool. All
Wow.
punts on number 9.
Yeah.
Wonderful. Love it.
You said your
Love it.
number 8,
You
but
said
that was
your
your number 9. Yeah.
That was my
just
number
a
9.
fraction.
I'm
Oh,
sorry.
okay.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So my number
Oh,
9
punt.
was
Punt as well. Punt as well.
Okay. Number 9 was The Power of the Dog. Now we're going on to
Double
number
bump.
8. Cool. So Brandon, what is your number 8?
Probably be punted as well, but my number 8 was The Father.
Hunt.
Yeah.
Okay. Cool. And so Derek, what is your number 8?
My number 8 was Titan.
Hunt.
Oh, are we ever gonna talk about any of these movies?
We'll get
Yeah.
there. We'll get there eventually.
Top 5 goes
Sure.
very slow usually.
Shaun, what is
Yeah.
your number 8?
My number 8 is The Tragedy of Macbeth.
All right, let's talk
Okay.
about it.
Here we go.
I'm psyched you have,
There we
I'm
go.
psyched you
Movie.
have it on here. I'm glad you have it on here. Let's talk about it.
Yeah, it was a perfectly simple movie. It is, one of the best tellings of this ancient story. I don't know if you would call this ancient, but of this, timeless story that I've seen. I've seen many versions of it, and this is probably my favorite. It does some extremely unique things that I really hope catch on in the kind of play adaptation or Shakespearean adaptation realm. It has the feeling of a stage play while also being cinematic. And, I just think kind of across the board, the decisions made for this movie were spot on. It looks incredible. It's brilliantly performed by some, A-class actors, and it's unique. And yeah, I highly recommend it.
One of my top honorable mentions outside of my top 10 as well. For
Yeah,
sure.
it was up there for me. I'm just not super into Shakespeare, but this was the most minimalistic, maximalist movie I've ever seen. It
Yeah.
was like, look at Denzel Washington's face. It's amazing. Look, there's shadows. It was just so amazing how much they did with how little they did.
Yeah.
So,
Definitely.
cool, Shaun. Great pick. That was The Tragedy of Macbeth, and it is available to stream on Apple Plus, or in theaters. So let's go on. My number 8 then is Judas and the Black Messiah. So Shaun had that at number 9, and this was a movie that came out basically a year ago. I just thought it was really, really well done. It was about the Black Panthers, and it kind of told that story, and how American history. I feel like American history kind of did them wrong and kind of showed them from a different perspective. But it's also about trust and brotherhood and doing the right thing, and obviously racial inequalities, and the fight, the FBI versus the Black Panthers and stuff. And it just was a really, really well done movie, and it stuck with me the whole year. So yeah, Judas and the
I
Black
think this
Messiah.
was the first movie we reviewed in our movie calendar for 2021. But it feels so long ago. It almost
Totally.
feels like a 2020 film.
Yeah. And I guess that's wherever you put it. Yeah, some people did consider it 2020.
Yeah.
Academy.
Fair pick.
Yeah.
Sean, do you have anything to add about it?
Yeah, sorry, I got distracted by the list again.
Good stuff.
Yeah, very good stuff. Yeah, it's definitely a movie. It may have even been higher on my list if I had seen it more recently. I hadn't seen it since it came out in theaters. Honestly, it was one of the first movies I saw in theaters, and yeah, it's just fantastic. Great performances all around, and yeah, really important movie.
Yeah. So yeah, that was the Judas and the Black Messiah. It's available to stream on HBO Max. Brandon, we're going on to you now. So what is your number 7?
On to 7.
My number 7 film is The Worst Person in the World.
Bunt.
Oh, all right. I was about to start talking. Yeah, I've been punted like 3 movies in a row now.
Yeah.
Oh, poor Brandon.
Nice.
Very
Nice.
nice.
So that was your number 7. So Derek, what is your number 7?
My number 7 was The Suicide Squad.
Punt.
Okay.
Damn.
Shaun, what is your number 7?
My number 7 is okay, you guys.
What?
I have to say about my number 7. Screw you. It's my list. I'll do what I want.
Oh my
Get
god.
Back. Get Back.
Is that the movies Get Back? Oh, Get Back. Get Back. Yep. Okay.
Get Back. No one.
I put
This is
OJ
like-
Made in America.
Yeah, I was gonna say this is like Brandon putting OJ Made in America on there.
Which
Yeah.
one's
Yeah.
longer?
Definitely.
Get Back's longer, I think.
Yeah, I'm not. They're about the same. They're right around the same length. Yeah, like this movie. Did anyone even consider this movie? For anyone think of it?
I think I had it on my movie radar, but I think I counted it in my list, but I don't think I'd consider it for my top 10. If that
Alright.
makes sense. Like I like
Yeah.
yeah, I don't begrudge you for putting it on there. I just like for me I'm kind of, I wouldn't have put OJ Made in America on mine either. So
Yeah. Yeah, it is. I mean, ever since I saw this movie, this documentary, it's the Beatles documentary that's come out recently, or last, I think on Christmas, and it is incredible. It's one of the more unique depictions of a music group writing music and being a band that I've ever seen. And honestly, it is the thing that in the last month or so since I saw it, it's probably the movie that I'm calling it a movie. It's potentially not a movie, depending on what you consider it, but it's it's the movie that I talk about the most to people. I'm constantly recommending it to people. I'm constantly asking people if they've seen it yet. And yeah, it is an incredible experience. I could honestly just sit and watch this footage for days on end. I could easily sit and watch it in its entirety all in one go. And I absolutely loved it all the way through. I cannot recommend it enough.
Gotta say,
Yeah, Shaun.
gotta say Peter Jackson too.
Yes, Peter Jackson's Beatles
On
documentary.
his documentary kick after they shall not grow old. He's doing this one
Yep.
now and using a lot
Yep.
of unique tricks with Weta Digital in order to get this old documentary.
I mean,
footage looking
yeah,
so
it's
good.
unbelievable. This footage has existed for years. I mean, there was a documentary that came out in like 1972 that had some of this footage, but it was like VHS quality. It was like terrible. I mean, I haven't seen the documentary. I'm not saying the documentary is terrible. Just the footage was very grainy and stuff. And you watch this, and it's high def, like beautiful. It's literally like hanging out with the Beatles. Like
Yeah.
I'm sitting here watching at night, like smoking weed, and it feels like I'm just like in the room with them, just like chit chatting, and then they start jamming, and they're hilarious. It's unbelievable the footage that's on there. Shaun, I totally second what you're saying about talking to people about it. I feel like when it first came out, I was just every person I saw that had a slight interest in music, I was like, "Have you seen the Beatles documentary?" I was calling people up. Peter Granith, have you watched it yet? He's like, "Oh yeah," It's just the part where they wrote "Get Back." It just came out of Paul's like brain, like
Yeah, pretty much every song on
Unbelievable.
that album you get to see like as a hint of an idea become fully formed into this, world-changing song that came out on the Let It Be album.
They're so funny too. It's amazing. It's amazing. It's one of the best documentaries. Yeah. So I don't begrudge you to put it on it, but yeah, good pick. So that was Get Back. It's available on Disney Plus. That was Shaun's number 7 pick. So my number 7 pick is a movie I love so much, and it is The Matrix Resurrections. Oh my goodness, guys! I love
Jeff
this movie.
Kanata here.
I love this movie so much. It's like it was like everything I wanted from a Matrix sequel. It was just like a legacy sequel. It was so funny, and it didn't try to be tied to the original stuff too much. It didn't try to remake the original one. It commented on it. It was like about how dumb it is to make legacy sequels, but it had like a new idea. It was, and not just a new idea, a bunch of new ideas, like sci-fi ideas, but then also just like romantic ideas and like humanistic ideas and just what it means to like care about each other and be real in the world. And it's just bursting with ideas. And yeah, I just love it so much. I just got done listening to the Blank Check podcast, did a 3.5-hour episode on it. And I was enthralled every minute of it. I immediately finished and turned on the movie again, and it was better the second viewing. So, yep, it was just so great. So, yeah, The Matrix Resurrections is my number 7.
Wow.
Nice.
This is gonna be the only controversial pick.
Note the no comments on. Oh, I wish I could have fit that in there.
Yeah. I mean, it is that it is. I am pretty shocked that like so many people are responding to it so strongly. Like you're definitely not alone.
I know that. I'm on the right. I'm on the right side of it. I'm in the right camp on this one. I mean, honestly, I'm not. I don't really believe in movies that way. I real quick as a quick side tangent, just like I was doing some reflecting on what I like love about movies, and that's kind of how I put my list together. And like my favorite kind of movies are movies that like subvert your expectations, that showcase cultures or time periods that I wouldn't otherwise know about. They're empathy machines. That whole quote, understanding the intricacies of human detail, and creative concepts and ideas, like original ideas that are materialized. And I feel like this one was like all about subverting expectations, and there was so much creativity bursting through it, and ideas, just ideas. Those are the things I care about. Like I care so much more these days. I mean, you guys know me. I watched 100 movies this year. Like for me, like I don't really care about like quote unquote like pacing or editing or whatever. Like I don't really care about any of the like objective quality movie things. I just want ideas and like originality. That's my biggest concern. And this movie had so much of that, so much voice. So yeah, I mean that's why I love The Matrix Resurrections.
Strong defense.
Nice.
Well done.
So we're going on to our number. I forgot that I was like I needed to go on to the next one. So yeah,
you're also the host. Yes.
Yeah, I'm like all right, cool. I'm done with that. Take a breath. So let's move on to our number 6s. So Brandon, your number 6 pick is?
It's finally The Suicide Squad.
Yeah.
All right.
There it is.
Yeah. Where did it appear on your guys' list? To recap,
mine was my 10.
My 7.
Okay. So I mean, just like I'm shocked how much I liked and loved this movie while watching it and while talking about it after. And it, like you said about Get Back, it was really fun to just tell people to go see this movie that I just blast watching. Talk about like endless creativity within the superhero genre. This movie has so many set pieces and setups and payoffs that are like so elaborate and fun when they finally hit throughout this film. And I think it's James Gunn did an incredible job. He made this totally unique and hilarious, and some of the most like beautiful and well put together action climaxes I've seen in a superhero film.
Mhm.
It's really great. And I'll let you guys talk about it some more as well. Go for it.
Yeah, I mean, I loved it too. Big James Gunn fan, and it was just cool to see like him not be. I love his Guardians of the Galaxy movies, but it was fun to see him be like weird and like not be afraid to like show like a lot of blood and gore and like
That's true. Yeah.
and like the movie gets
Yeah.
pretty weird. Like there's like a doctor having weird like sexual fantasies with like an alien starfish and stuff like that. And
There's some good body horror in this movie.
yeah, there's
for
some
sure.
body
Yeah.
horror, and I wasn't sure how like John Cena was gonna play out in this, and when he makes his like I guess his heel turn towards the end of the movie is like he's really good. And yeah, I mean when a movie nails a third act like this movie does, it's like it's really like
And it's
engraves itself in
so
you.
rare for
Yeah.
the superhero genre to nail the third act. Of this
Yeah.
film, too.
Yeah.
And this one I was like crying in the third act of this movie. It's
The
just
shark
really
was so good. Like,
Yeah, the shark.
yeah, the shark
Yeah.
was good. Like, and he
emotional. The shark who didn't have any, was a big shark was emotional. Just-
yeah.
Yeah. He's like really good at finding beauty in kind of the grotesque or the, upsetting images, like the rats and the starfish at the end, or like the polka dot guy and like how the virus was affecting him. The way that he shows that is so like kind of gross, but also like colorful and almost beautiful, but also really sad and tragic. And he somehow manages to pull off so many different emotions and I guess like bodily reactions, innate reactions to visual, his visuals, and it's pretty incredible. I absolutely love this movie, and I will say we should all be embarrassed that this movie did so poorly in the box
In an
office.
age where superhero movies are the things doing best, right?
And
I would
No
like
Way
to
Home
believe-
is pushing $2 billion at the box office right now.
I mean,
let's not
I
talk about the box office. There's
I know,
like
but-
the box office is just like it's random. Like it's not random, but like it's not like you can't really draw any sort of conclusions to the box office right now.
Well, and this
if
movie's
anything,
not-
it's like
It's not going to have any effect. Like HBO, like Warner Brothers knew like they were going to put this out on streaming too, like day one.
Yeah,
So
exactly, and like it's clearly done. I mean, I don't know how the Suicide Squad did on streaming, but the Peacemaker is doing fantastic. Like
Yeah.
John Cena, it's a huge hit for Cena. They already announced the season 2 of it. Like it's huge. It's I think they announced it was like one of their biggest like streaming like pickup. So like it's a
wanted
hit.
to- One thing I forgot to say in like a movie, like a film landscape of like the just good enough Marvel movies that I feel like we often get year after year, that this movie has everything just dialed up to 11 in each of its like genres and categories. And it's so refreshing to see someone who's trying this hard to put together a film this good.
for sure.
Gotta take a shot at Marvel in there, huh?
A little bit.
I feel like Marvel movies have like
I mean, it's definitely not just Marvel, but yeah.
I feel like Marvel movies are all right, but we don't need to talk about that right now.
All right, that was Brandon.
Is anyone gonna have Zack Snyder's Justice League on their list?
I'm not gonna lie, it's on my honorable
Spoiler.
mentions.
Nice.
I looked at
I
it for a
really
second.
like
I was
that
like,
movie.
oh, yeah.
Hella. I mean, I don't think I don't have any superhero movies in my top 10, but I was considering it. I mean, I don't know.
Yeah.
I usually do, and I thought it was actually a really good year for superhero movies.
Yeah, it was.
Matrix isn't a superhero movie.
A little bit.
Matrix isn't a superhero movie.
I don't think so.
I mean, it's not a comic book movie, but anyways. It's a joke.
Got it.
I'll take a note on that. Um, okay, so that was Brandon's number
6.
right? That was
Yeah.
Brandon's number 6. So
Yes.
Derek, what is your number?
My number 6 is Maggie Gyllenhaal's The Lost Daughter.
Ooh.
I wasn't expecting anyone else to have it on their list. This movie just like really clicked for me and really hit me, and I thought it was, when I first watched it, I wasn't like really blown away by it, but probably like there's only a couple movies that I thought about more and more than like this movie just really stuck with me, and I kept thinking about it, it kept popping up in my head, and yeah, I found something in that movie that I thought was very, very rewarding, and I thought she did some very like sophisticated emotions and stuff with that movie. And it's just a really impressive first film, and yeah, I loved it. I thought it was really, really great performances.
This is the first movie that we've talked about today that I haven't seen, and I've been kind of nervous about it just because I just, parenting sort of stuff can be devastating, and I just didn't know if I was like, I don't know, I just wasn't. I just was kind of the trailer made me nervous.
Yeah.
So I was like, I don't know if I want to watch this movie right now. I just kept hearing it was like devastating for parents, but but I didn't listen to the guy's review. I kind of avoided a lot of stuff about this movie, so. Like,
I think you'll like it a lot. It's a good parenting movie. Like,
I don't. It's maybe
it's
this
heavy,
is a
but
spoiler.
it's
It's not heavy in the way that you might be afraid of.
Yeah.
From the trailers.
Okay.
It doesn't go down the road that you worry it might.
Well, I just don't know. I mean, I don't even know. Like, it wasn't, I get worried about different things. I guess I was kind of worried on an existential level when, in December, life was kind of crazy. And I just was like, I don't know if I can handle like thinking too much about what kind of parent I might or may not be if a kid's getting lost or something. Is this going to be another Loveless situation? And,
honestly, I think that it sounds like this is the movie for you. Like, I think you should really watch it, and I think you'll really like it. I think you and Shannon would probably love it. It's really good.
Yeah, I mean, I was planning kind of on watching it before the Academy Awards because it did get nominated for a bunch of stuff.
Yeah.
So, acting performances. So, cool pick. I mean, you liking it makes me feel better about it. So, yeah, I'll seek it out.
Yeah, it was definitely in my, kind of in the mix of me making my top 10s, but didn't quite. Yeah, maybe if I was a parent.
And easily stream it on Netflix too.
Yep.
Yep.
Yeah. Okay, cool. So that was Derek's number 6. So Shaun, what is your number 6?
My number 6 is The French Dispatch.
Hunt.
Whoa.
Nice. Cool. So that was Shaun's number 6. My number 6 is a little movie called The Last Duel.
Punt.
Hunt.
All right.
Hunt.
Cool.
Whoa.
Wow.
Whoa.
Not seeing that coming. Cool. Well, number 6. So yeah, let's move on. Let's move on to Brandon's number 5. Brandon, what is your number
Top
5?
5. Real quick, I will say, Brandon and Derek, check your 3s.
Mine's not like updating.
Or sorry,
I
check
can't
your
see
number 8.
anyone's
Check your
got.
number
Just
8
like it.
movies.
All right, my
don't
turn?
have to spend much time on it, but yeah.
Yeah.
Do it.
Okay, we're on my movie number 5 is The Last Duel.
Punt.
Hunt.
So Derek, what is your number 5?
My number 5 is The Green Knight. I'm the only one that has it. Oh, okay. I was like, what?
Yeah.
Sean told me to look at the list. So
Oh.
I looked over.
Yes.
it.
All right.
Okay,
That's
so
it. All right, me and you,
Sean-
there we go.
Shaun, what is your number 5?
Sorry. What did Derek just say?
The Green Knight.
He said the Green Knight.
Right. Okay. Derek, you want to get that on there for me? Falling a little behind here. Okay, my number 5 is The Last Duel.
Punt.
Cool. So my number 5 is Licorice Pizza. Anyone? Licorice Pizza?
Close,
So,
very close.
Very
No out.
close.
well,
Mitchell's versus the Machines kicked it out.
oh, bummer. Yeah. So, Licorice Pizza is the new Paul Thomas Anderson movie, and I'm a big PTA fan. I feel like every movie he's made, I'm just like pretty much enthralled with. And this one was no exception. I had so much fun with this movie. It was just basically just dropping you into 70s Hollywood, California, and just the wackiness that goes along with it. It just there were all these um, weird stories and just hilarious experiences, and there was a nice little romance in there, but it wasn't even truly a romance. Like it's kind of controversial, but I would argue that like the movie is actually trying to keep the characters apart. There isn't actually a lot of romance there. It's a lot of chemistry, and but yeah, I just had so much fun with this movie, and there's all these little stories that I just know I haven't had a chance to watch it twice, but I know that I'm going to watch it like a lot over the years. Just because I just know it's gonna be an easy movie to go back to, and just I've talked to a lot of people about it. Just remember that part. Oh yeah, that part, and I don't know. Yeah, so yeah, Licorice
Yeah.
Pizza would be my number 5.
Yeah, I totally agree, Nick. I think to add to what you said, I think this movie is a movie that kind of wears the clothes of a movie that kind of romanticizes the 70s. It's like it's all fun and games, and everyone was just running around having a blast, kind of like maybe a Richard Linklater movie, or I don't know. There's a bunch of 70s movies where everyone, it's just kind of a romp. But I loved how this movie did not shy away from the downsides of the 70s, the ugly parts of it, the sexism and the racism and all those things. It kind of just it while it was a ton of fun, it also really felt true to the time, and all of the not just cherry picking what it was to be in that time. So yeah.
Yeah, I remember walking out of the theater and Shannon just like taking a breath and being like, "Wow, that movie was just really about like power dynamics and imbalances every
Yeah,
single scene,
definitely.
nonstop from beginning to end." And I stood back, I was like, "Holy shit!" Like it was such a great point. Literally every scene. Great film.
Mm-hmm.
And like subtle. Like I don't know. I feel like Paul Thomas Anderson makes these like big, important movies, and then he'll also just he has these like passion projects that are like a little like not as much like in your face about how great they are. Um, you know, for example, like Inherent Vice is such a weird movie, and no one really talks about it, but like I love it. I've seen it like 5 times, and I just know that Licorice Pizza is gonna have the same sort of effect. So let's move into deeper into our list. That was my number 5. It was Licorice Pizza. So Brandon, what is your number 4?
My number 4 is The Power of the Dog.
Hunt.
Okay.
All right.
So Derek, what is your number 4?
My number 4 was Last Night in Soho.
All right.
Yeah. It was Edgar Wright's new movie. I don't know. I'm kind of a sucker for him. It's hard for me not to just obsess over every movie he puts out. And it was cool to see him finally really do his version of a horror movie. So all of his movies always have a hint of horror, but he's never really done a straight horror. And this movie was just so stylized and so the look of this movie is so freaking complex, just from scene to scene, and how I don't know, it's just such a he did a lot of thinking back at Scott Pilgrim and stuff. He had a lot of scenes transitioning into other scenes, but all practically, a set would unfold into another set. He does that a lot in this movie, and it's just so gorgeous and awesome to watch. And I thought it was kind of a unique horror movie too. It wasn't a flat out really scary movie, but it felt like he was really going for a cool style, and yeah, I just thought it was a blast. It was awesome.
Yeah.
Yeah, Derek, I basically second that. This was literally my number 11. Like, this
Yeah.
was the one movie
Yeah.
that
I'm
I really
surprised.
wanted to
Yeah.
make.
Yeah, I was sure you were gonna have it on your list.
Yeah, I mean, like I'm telling you, like it was the one movie that like I don't know, I really want Benedetta to be on my list. I almost switched out The Power of the Dog and Last Night in Soho, but there's a lot of chaotic energy in my list, and I feel like I need The Power of the Dog
To
to
ground it.
anchor my list a little bit.
Right.
Like, I don't know. Last Night in Soho is just, it's a wild ride. You know, I mean,
Yeah.
Mhm.
I loved how it created the time period. Like, it felt like you were in the '60s in London,
Mhm.
and it was so engrossing in that. But then it becomes horrifying, and the horror concept, I feel like, was truly realized. And uh, yeah, no, I thoroughly enjoyed this movie.
Yeah.
Yeah, great
This
pick.
is the movie almost more so than any other movie aside from maybe like Dune that I go back and watch like behind the scenes for. I just love seeing all the little tricks he does throughout this movie practically to make it look like these two people are, kind of occupying
Same.
the same body. And
Yeah.
it's just like there's many cool little techniques, clever little techniques that he uses to pull off some of those scenes. And it's just one of those movies that tickles me.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. It's a good movie.
So that was Derek's number.
Four.
That was number 4. Yeah. So that was Derek's number 4. The Last Night in Soho. Honestly, I think the reason it didn't make my list is because I keep calling it the wrong name. It started as a joke and it became like a real thing where I keep almost saying the last Soho on the left. I can't not say that. And so
Very
how
different
big of a
movie.
fan can I be of the movie if I can't say its name right? So
Yeah.
um, let's move on. Shaun, what is your number 4?
My number 4 is The Father,
Solid.
which
All
Brandon,
you.
I believe you had it on yours
Yes.
as well.
Number 8 for me.
Yeah. Yeah, this is another movie that came out last year. Um, well, early last year, almost considered a 2020 movie. But I didn't put it on my list last year for whatever reason. And it's a movie that had a pretty major effect on me. Me and Brandon lost our grandma early last year as well, and I saw this movie fairly shortly after that. We lost her to Alzheimer's, and yeah, it was the performance. Central performance is so incredible. It's hard to describe. It's a transcendent performance, to be cliche, but it's also a movie that's kind of unique in that I feel like most, if not all, Alzheimer's movies, at least that I've seen, show Alzheimer's from the perspective of the people that it is, the people around the person who is sick that it is affecting. The lives of the people who are trying to take care of the person who has Alzheimer's. Whereas this one really puts you in the shoes of the person with Alzheimer's, and kind of does a pretty incredible job at actually depicting what it might feel like to be living through this disease. And it's pretty terrifying, and it is, but at the same time, it's enlightening, and it is, at least for me, it made me understand, my grandma a lot more and what she was going through, and the things she experienced, and why she was doing the things she did, and why she was behaving the way she did towards the end. And it was an incredible film, and it's definitely a movie that's going to stick with me for the rest of my life.
Yeah, well said. Well
Yeah,
said.
said.
All right, Sean. Sean made me watch this movie. Was putting it off for a lot of the above reasons. For the same reason that Nick maybe was putting off the Lost Daughter from Netflix. I mean, similar anxiety, you don't want to put yourself through like stuff like this sometimes. But yeah, over the summer, Sean finally made me watch it. It's a very difficult movie to watch, but it is incredibly well done, and it's not what you expect. I mean, Sean described it really well. The diving bell and the butterfly for similar style for Alzheimer's, and talk about Last Night in Soho. Just the tricks and the way they creatively were able to display that on screen was just pretty amazing. So that's why I chose it as well.
Yeah, you guys are totally spot on. Thanks for sharing. I was, it's personal stuff. I think it goes a long way on the show, but it's like, it's. I just want to second what you guys are saying. Like Sean, you mentioned that Anthony Hopkins' performance was transcendent. It really was. But like again, what Brandon's saying too, it's like to me, what made the movie so special was how they were able to like really like edit it in a way that felt jarring as the audience. Like they kept you on your toes in a really really real way. So yeah.
Have you seen it yet, Derek?
I haven't.
Okay. I added to the list.
So that movie is The Father, and that was Brandon's number
8.
Sorry, 8. Not number
Sean's
8.
number-
Number 3. Oh,
It's Brandon's
My
number
number-
8, Sean's number 3.
oh, I'm sorry. Yeah, Brandon's number 8. Sean's number
4.
4. We're at number 4. Sorry, guys. We're at number 4. So that was Sean's number 4. The Father. So my number 4 is Drive My Car. Have any of you guys seen Drive My Car yet?
Yeah,
Yes.
me and Brandon
You
just
saw it,
that
Brandon?
was last week's podcast, I believe.
Oh, you guys saw it. Okay.
Yeah.
And didn't make any of your guys' list. Oh, wow.
No, I was a little
Surprising.
surprised, but yeah.
Were you not so hot on it? I didn't listen to the episode. I didn't.
Yeah, I don't know.
No, we
I mean,
weren't not hot on it. We had a
We
good
weren't not
discussion
hot
about
on
it.
it. Yeah.
Well, I was, I thought it was a great movie. I walked out of the theater. I saw it with, friend of the show, Cal Shay, and we were, we saw it together. And throughout the movie, I didn't know how much I was actually like enjoying it. Like I was recognizing how great it was, but I was like, it's a long movie, and you get like so engrossed in it. And the balls of this movie to have the opening credits come in at 45 minutes. I was just like, this freaking movie. Oh my goodness. Yeah, Derek. I'm like
For real,
this movie
Derek.
starts.
Yeah.
This movie starts. A bunch of stuff happens. You get attached to the characters. All this really interesting drama, subtle details. You're like invested. And then
it
something
gives you the
happens.
cold open.
Yeah, and then
Yeah.
and then something happens, and then it's like names just start appearing on the screen,
Yeah.
and it's like
Almost
Jesus.
Almost as
I
if
would-
like he wrote an entire movie like that started from the opening credits, and then he was like, I feel like this movie needs a little more context. And then he
Do a
just
quick 45-minute
wrote and
scene.
a quick 45-minute opening scene.
opening movie. It's like a short
Jesus.
film in front of an already long film,
Wow.
and but like it's amazing though. Like and it deserves it. Like it deserves that time. And again, I was like, this movie's fantastic. This is amazing. And then we walked home, and with like me and Cal walked from his house, and on the walk home we were just talking about all these like little things that happen in the movie, and there's so much complexity in this movie. There's so many layers, and it's one of those movies that works on a character level and a story level and like a metaphorical level too. Like there's all sorts of different aspects of this movie to look at and kind of pick apart and just like think about. There's just a lot to unpack. And yeah, I mean, I just thought it was just really, really, really well done. And yeah, I just thought it was fantastic. So
Yeah. For me, I think watching the movie was, it's a little bit hard. It's long, and it's a little bit, you could say it's a little bit slow, but like what I said in the podcast was that it's a movie that's going to last. The more I think about it, the more I think I'm going to like it and think positively. Like it is a very complex movie. There's a lot going on. It is just, the actual sitting experience of it is a little, I don't even know what to say. It's not, not bad. It's just a little bit hard to watch, to sit down and watch.
I feel like it's I definitely want to watch it again. I will watch it again. It's gonna be on HBO Max in a few weeks, and I definitely plan on watching it again. Um, it's not like boring though. You know, it's just like it's kind of like a lot. It's day to day type of stuff,
How long
and
is this movie?
it's a good
3
3
hours.
hours.
Oh, okay.
It's a good 3 hours, and like solid 3 hours. But yeah,
Batman
I don't know.
length.
Yeah, it'll be as long as the Batman.
Mhm.
I'm really
Um,
glad you picked this movie, Nick. Like, it's awesome that we're able to mention it and that people should see it. And I definitely liked it. Just didn't appear on my top.
Mhm.
just Mitchell's versus the Machines was better. So.
Yeah. I mean,
Ooh. Burn.
Um, so yeah, let's move on. That was my number 4. So Brandon,
Top
what is your
three.
number
Here we
3?
go.
Top 3. Here we go.
Ready? I think someone mentioned it before. My number 3 was The Green Knight.
Yeah,
Is that Derek?
that was my number 5. Yeah.
Number 5. Okay, pretty high up too.
Yeah.
This is David Lowery's new film. Been like David Lowery's been like low key just one of the best directors around for a while, and he's just made some awesome movies this last decade. And The Green Knight is no exception. It's crazy he's just making a Peter Pan movie next. But anyways, this is a retelling of one of the Arthurian legends, The Green Knight, and it is haunting and extremely gorgeous. It has one of the most like mic drop climaxes, like when the movie just like wraps up in the perfect way, in the perfect moment, in the perfect final scene. It just like really does something for the, for the overall like quality enjoyment of the film. And the end of The Green Knight is so good. I loved this movie. It's fascinating, just like watching Macbeth. Watching like this story as old as time that's been around forever, and watching a modern retelling of it with just the most gorgeous visuals. I don't know. I don't know what else to say. David Lowery's amazing. What do you think, Derek?
Yeah, I mean, I second everything you said. I really like Dev Patel too, and
Yes.
and he was really great in this movie. And
Needs to star in more movies.
yeah, I feel it's
for
weird.
sure.
Like he's just so great to watch, and I'm just surprised we don't get to see him very often. But yeah, like however you kind of feel about the movie, yeah, a great ending like does so much for me. And yeah, this movie just like this last like 5 minutes and like the last line of the movie, you're just like you can't help but like it was like almost clapping by myself in my house watching this movie. It's just like yes, like this movie, it's great, and it's really unique. And yeah, David Lowery makes good movies. It's just a really solid, dependable director.
He's great for sure, and yeah, it's such an epic. I wish I had it. For whatever reason, it's kind of just dipped in my memory since I saw it, and I don't have a lot of urge to go back to it. But it's solid in my top 20. So yeah,
Nice.
that was The Green Knight, and that was Derek. That was Brandon's number 3. So
Yes.
Derek, what is your number?
I don't know why I'm so nervous to tell you guys my number 3. I know none of you guys have this on your lists. I haven't talked to any of you guys about this movie. I don't know what you guys think about it. I feel like it's probably the most eye-rolly of the movies we have on here. But
I mean,
What?
did you see Brandon and Sean's reaction to the Matrix?
No, I know.
Resurrections? They fell out of their chair, literally. Their eyes were on the ground. Just
well,
kidding.
my number 3 is Bo Burnham's Inside.
Oh, why is this eye rolly?
I don't know.
No, that is great.
It's kind of a weird.
Derek.
Is that
I've
a
heard-
movie?
Yeah, it's like
Yeah,
an
it's like
hour
the
and a
Get
half.
Back.
The
musical.
only reason I didn't put it on my list is because I didn't want to have two like almost not movies on
Oh,
my
Yeah,
okay.
list.
Sean shows Get Back.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Jeff Kanata put this at his number 1 film of the year.
Oh
Yeah.
wow.
Makes you feel better.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know what else to consider it besides a movie. I mean, it's funny, but it's not like a comedy special, But I think if anything, it's like a apocalyptic musical is kind of what it feels like to me.
That is a great description of it.
But like
An
everything,
apocalyptic musical.
but like everything, I don't know. This movie's just so shocking because like the stuff he does, like the lighting and like the camera work and like his editing and just the songs. Like, part of me doesn't believe he did it all by himself, but maybe Bo Burnham's just more talented than I give him credit for. I don't know. Like, it's pretty incredible, and his songs are so freaking good. I've listened to the Inside album like probably 20 times. He was my number one most listened to artist this year on Spotify. I said, and
Yeah, Derek, I've been listening to That Funny Feeling a lot.
yeah, that one's
Yeah.
really good. And
That song is remarkable.
yeah, and I think I watched this movie like 5 times this year.
Wow.
I don't know. I thought it really captured like kind of the mood of like 2020 really well, and just like, I don't know, like kind of just questioning everything and like your life and all the weird stuff and like technology that's going on. Yeah. And you know, he has his like Bo Burnham charm, and he's just really funny. He has like, there's just some bits in there that are so like up my alley. Just like his like the commenting on like him making a video like skit in this movie. I don't know if you guys remember which one I'm talking about. It's like he's commenting on a video, and then the video loops back into him commenting on the video, and it just like keeps going. But the like the intricacy of what he had to do to pull off that skit is so complex, and it's just like it's a dumb joke, but like that probably took like days of planning to pull. Like, it's so complicated.
It's a simple joke, but it's
so
like,
simple, but...
yeah, there's so much depth to it. There's so many layers of depth.
Yeah.
Like, and in like depth portraying his own psychology as he is like creating art, and then like looking at his creation, and then looking at the way he's looking at his creation, and then like taking it a couple more steps further than that. And it's just, and it is, I completely agree, it is brilliant.
It's interesting seeing this as maybe like even a film follow-up to Eighth Grade, even though he would consider it maybe one of his comedy specials, but like directed Eighth Grade, and now he's directed Inside. It's crazy to see like what he's going to come up with next.
My theory, because he hasn't really done any interviews or anything since this came out, but my theory is that he owed Netflix a comedy special, and he probably had written one and was going to go on tour but didn't, and so he like did this and added some more songs and stuff. And but yeah, that was my number 3. It's really good.
I haven't seen it.
It's so good. It's such an easy watch too.
Yeah.
But,
short, brilliant.
Yeah, so that was Derek's number 3, Inside. So Shaun, what is your number 3?
Let's see, did I get Derek's number? Yes, I did. My number 3. What is my number 3? My number 3 is The Power of the Dog.
There you go. Yep.
There it is.
Who else had it?
I had it at number 9.
Yep.
Derek?
I don't think
me.
Derek did not have it. Brandon, you had it, and Nick had it. Yeah. So The Power of the Dog. I'm definitely a big Western fan. I did my Western anthology. I don't even remember how long ago, a couple of years ago. And I love a modern Western that is still finding ways to tell a different Western story. This is, in a lot of ways, it could be considered an anti-Western. I mean, it would be considered an anti-Western. There isn't hardly any guns in this movie. I don't think anyone holds a gun. Maybe there's like guns that are holstered or whatever. Maybe someone's carrying a gun at some point. But there's no one wielding a gun. There's no shooting. There's as far as like the kind of more tropey Western elements, this movie is very, does very minimally, but
there is a ominous banjo.
There definitely is an ominous banjo. Well, I don't know if I don't recall there ever being an ominous banjo. There's definitely plenty of banjos.
Had a banjo that was ominous.
That is,
I actually haven't seen a Western.
I have not seen Deliverance, but yeah, definitely. I mean, that scene is definitely one of my favorite scenes when he's playing it. playing the banjo. Benedict Cumberbatch for me, this is the only performance he's done that really made me like say wow. You know, it's incredible. It really puts him up on that like top tier of actors. I know he's always been really good. I mean, I've thought he's always been really good, but this really kind of leveled him up for me. And it says a lot that all four of the main actors in this movie were nominated for Oscars this year.
Wow.
Jesse Plemons, Kirsten Dunst, Benedict Cumberbatch, and the kid. Oh no, I'm blanking on his name. But
Odie Smith
yeah,
McPhee.
yep.
McPhee.
Yep. You know, yeah, absolutely incredible performances all around. It's also a Western where I feel like it's a really common Western trope where the new age of the modern era of the United States is kind of encroaching on the West and kind of pushing out this old generation of outlaws or, you know, whatever kind of and it's usually that new encroaching modern era that is portrayed as a villain, whereas like I think what's really interesting about this movie is that it flips that and it portrays this old kind of stubborn, stuck in their ways, you know, toxic masculinity of the Western that is so prominent in the Western genre, and it portrays that as the villain or the kind of thing that is the you know,
The antagonist.
Yeah.
the antagonist of the movie. And
Yeah,
I think it
that's
does some really incredible stuff with that throughout the movie. There's some great scenes of Benedict Cumberbatch just ominous and you know, looming over some of the other characters, and it's an incredible film, and the ending is just, you know, really seals the deal for me.
Definitely.
It's
Like just like
incredible.
the Green Knight, this is
Yep.
an ending that hits totally perfectly and
Mhm.
makes everything you've seen before it not worthwhile, but elevates it even further. This is definitely just like the drama of dramas this year, but and it's very much that, but it's done so well. The script is so perfect and tight, and obviously the performances are incredible. The setting, the background,
Direction.
there's the direction. There's some just really special scenes throughout this movie that make you feel a lot, and it's done great. Yeah, this is my number. It's my number 4.
Yeah, I just want to, yeah, I mean, I love this movie. I thought it was a lot better than I thought it was going to be. Honestly, I don't know, I'd never seen a Jane Campion movie before, and now I want to watch all of her movies.
Mhm.
And I think that, like, going into it, I was kind of like, okay, it's going to be a Western. You know, we'll see. Looks like an Oscar movie. You know, we'll see how much I like it. And then, you know, I feel like the movie kind of plays a trick on you a little bit, where like you don't know what this movie is until basically the end of the movie. And I wouldn't call it a twist because I think it gradually
Mhm.
reveals itself. Twists usually like happen and, you know, turn
Mhm.
everything on side. But I do think like I haven't had a chance to rewatch it yet. I definitely plan to, but I think it'll be a completely different viewing experience the second
Yeah,
time.
Yeah,
yeah,
totally
And
agree.
and Sean, I just want to kind of piggyback what you're saying about like masculinity and the West and how they portray the characters. One thing that I thought that was interesting about this movie is how it you know, Benedict Cumberbatch was clearly the like heel of the movie. You know, he was the antagonist in a lot of ways, but I also think the movie was showing like toxic masculinity in all its forms.
Mhm.
Like it was showing it like highlighted it with the other characters as well, and and I just, you know, it's like Ben Cumberbatch was definitely the bad guy, but like it also the movie did not shy
Yeah,
away from
there's
like showing how you know how wrong you can be in other ways as well.
Mhm. Yeah.
So yeah, that was The Power of the Dog. That was Brandon's number not I'm sorry,
4.
Brandon. That was Brandon's number 4. That was Sean's number 3. So, top 2, here we come. Top 2, here we come.
Did you say your number 3, Nick?
No, that was my number 3.
My number 3. I almost skipped mine. Thanks for catching me, Derek.
Yeah.
Thank you for that. My number 3 was Titan.
Oh,
Whoa.
here we go.
Wow.
So, yeah. So
were we the only two
Titan.
that had it on our list?
Yeah, you are.
Only two that saw it.
I saw it.
Shaun saw it.
Oh,
Yeah.
Shaun.
So yeah, Titan. It's the new horror film by Julia Ducournau. I definitely said her name wrong. How do you say her name?
I think
Julia
it's Ducournau is how I
Ducournau. Yeah.
Good pull, Derek.
Ducournau.
Yeah. I mean, this movie is like unlike any other movie. It's
Absolutely.
It's like it's so stylized. It's a body horror to the extreme. It's weird as fuck. It's got strange ideas. And it's very, it's very big initially. Like initially there's just a lot going on, and and then it turns into something else. It's kind of a weird thing because you watch the trailer for it and it seems like it's going to be a movie that's like hitting you all cylinders nonstop, and it does do that. But then it kind of like slows down. It becomes more of like a smaller personal story, and it's in that it explores like complicated relationships and like gender fluidity and I don't know. It's to me I often say movies, like great style but not a lot of substance. I thought this movie was one of those movies that just was pure, like had so much style, and then like also had like a lot going on, like substance wise. There was just a lot of like all the characters were fleshed out, their relationships were complicated, and they were going through like, I don't want to say real things because the things were kind of like unreal, but like the emotions certainly
they were a
felt
metaphor
real.
for real things.
And
Absolutely.
and it was a great horror film. It was the kind of horror movie that like it's a weird movie. I bought it on Blu-ray and I watched it again, and it's a weird horror movie because like there are parts of it that definitely cross lines for me. And horror fans like myself are kind of weird because we kind of like crossing lines, but I still don't like there were parts of that movie where I just like I don't usually cover my eyes, but like I did in this movie. Like there were parts where I literally couldn't watch. And yeah, I remember when I saw this movie, I actually did a double feature that day. I did Venom and then Titan. It was a wonderful double feature.
Sounds
and
awesome.
it was great. It was so good. I wish Venom could have been in my top 10. I tried, I didn't make it. But then I remember there was only 2 other people in theater. There's like a couple that was sitting behind me, and I took a spot on the front row. Put my legs up on the bar, and the movie finished, and the couple, like, I'm seeing through the credits because I always sit through the credits, and the couple comes down. They both look at me like at the same time, and I made eye contact with them, and then we just like kind of like stared at each other like, yeah, that was an experience as they walked out. And yeah, so yeah, that's Titan for me.
That was my number 8 also. And yeah, I second everything you say. The movie's, it's insane. And I think the fact that it works as well as it do is like really showing of how good of a director she is. And like, I know Rob, I think, was on all of our lists. Our last movie. And like the fearlessness and like for her to like come back with this movie, and she's like, this is like the story I want to tell. It's like, what the fuck are you thinking? And somehow she pulls it off. And honestly, like, yeah, like it has some really deep, like honest emotions on top of this like bizarre story that when things like that are done as well as they're done in this movie, it's hard not to like feel moved and like affected by him, even when like something like as insane as like the concept of this movie is happening on screen. I don't know. I thought it was actually kind of like, especially like by the end of the movie, I was like, that's a beautiful movie, but at the beginning, it's hard to understand how you could possibly feel that way at the end. But
it's like almost a an uplifting, like happy ending
Yeah, but
compared to the
Oh,
rest
that
of
was
the
a nice
movie.
ending. Okay.
Yeah, yeah.
yeah,
It's
but like,
yeah. Oh, sorry.
oh no, no, you're fine. Go ahead.
I was just gonna say, I think this is a movie that only suffered a bit for me because I saw it by myself and I didn't really have anyone to talk about it with afterwards. And it definitely feels like a movie that you need to watch and then just like, get it out of your
Yeah.
system and like go over it. And it's just like,
Yeah,
yeah.
Sean, I literally like when this movie was over, I like went out to my car and just started like in my podcast feed on the podcast app, I just searched Titan, and I found a podcast where the whole podcast, like the concept of this other podcast is that they uh one person watches the movie and the it's a horror podcast, and one person watches the horror movie, the other
Mm.
person doesn't, and she explains the movie to the other person like beat by beat. So like
Yeah.
basically like I listened to a person basically tell the whole story of the movie immediately after I got done watching it, because I just wanted to like digest it with somebody.
Yeah. I guess
And
as
it helped.
I guess as a similar example, like Mother, the movie Mother, the Darren Aronofsky movie was one that was kind of similar. Like I watched it and it was like really impactful, and for that one I immediately came home and just explained the entire movie with Kelly, who didn't see it, and I was just like so affected by it. But for whatever reason, I didn't do that when I saw this movie, and
Yeah.
just kind of
another great
passed me
movie.
by a little bit.
So yeah, that was Titan. That's my number 3. So let's move on to our top 2. So Brandon, what is your number 2?
Going over, I
no.
think I know like the rest of the movies almost. This is going to be interesting to see where you guys start putting them, because there's some that have been punted but still haven't been talked about. All right, my number 2 movie is The French Dispatch. No puns, obviously.
That was on my
Sean's list, right?
my number 6, I believe. Okay. 5 or 6, I think.
All right. I freaking loved this movie. It was almost my number 1. I think this is like, I cannot believe that Wes Anderson is still making more Wes Anderson-y movies than he's done before. He's like still going down the rabbit hole, and somehow there's still
he's
more
only halfway down.
He could be somehow. And normal director would have been done 15 years ago with this and becoming more tame. He's going the opposite end. He's getting more extreme with his style and more creative and more incredible. And I think this is one of his best films. Obviously, there is a abundance of Wes Anderson-y stuff that we all know and love him for that you could talk about and praise, and it's all here to the most extreme. But I also loved the story that was being told and the world that he created and the individual newspaper stories that we were going through this film. All of them were impactful to me. Some of them incredible, all of them great, and I loved each one. The acting that he always brings to his films is so fun to watch. All his cameos, all his lead roles, and there's no exception here, especially with how like widespread the story is. You get like everybody he's ever worked with plus more. But this is like my top 2 movie of the year, but also like my top 2 Wes Anderson films ever made.
Nice.
And I love it.
Yeah, I totally agree. He is incredible. And like you said, there's plenty of Wes Anderson things he does in this movie that are very Wes Anderson-y, but there's also a ton of stuff in this movie that I don't think he's ever done before. Really not just reimagining his style, not just like adding to his style, but he's doing completely new things visually and new things with his themes and his ideas and the way he tells story that he's never done before. And it's absolutely incredible. I think it's his most complex movie, and I think it's a movie where you kind of have to grab onto it and have it like it's almost like it's a ride. You got to grab on and like keep up with it. But if you can do that, it is very rewarding. It's emotionally very impactful and engaging. I do think there's like some emotional depth to this movie that he hasn't really, maybe even hasn't really explored since Royal Tenenbaums. And yeah, I absolutely love it. I agree. One of my favorite Wes Anderson movie, although I think almost every Wes Anderson movie is one of my favorite Wes Anderson movies. So
Yeah, guys. Yeah, I mean, I didn't have it on my list, and but I think it'll be a movie that I'll appreciate more over time. I have it on Blu-ray, and I definitely want to watch it again. Shaun, I feel like the emotional resonance that you're talking about, like I definitely felt that in some of it, especially the final story about the chef,
mhm.
and there's like a little bit of dialogue there at the end, and it's actually like kind of funny because it's like also about it's also commentary about the newspaper as well, where how a story comes together, and
Yeah,
the guy who wrote that
definitely.
story left out like a crucial part of like the heart of the story, and then
Mhm.
the editor was, or the owner of the paper is like, that's the story. You got to
Yeah,
put that in there, and that
I
part I
could
think
not disagree more, is what he responds to Bill Murray
yeah.
with.
So yeah, that it's great. I can't wait to watch it again. I feel like I might have had a different reaction if I'd seen it in theater, because I just yeah, based just you saying like you need to grab onto it and keep up with it. Like
Mm.
maybe my first viewing being a at home viewing, I had a little bit of a disconnect to it, but not nearly the size of the disconnect I had with the Grand Budapest Hotel or anything like that. So I definitely I really enjoyed this movie, and I can't wait to rewatch. So that was Brandon's number 2, not his number 1. It was his number 2. So now we're gonna move on to Derek's number 2.
Yes, I'm surprised I haven't heard this movie mentioned yet, but my
Oh
number
no.
2 was Pig. Um,
Derek, that's also my number 2.
oh, okay, okay.
Yes!
What?
Wow.
um, okay,
I was
well,
kind of hoping you'd have it at number 1, and I
yeah,
almost had number 1. I almost had it number
it's
1.
pretty close for me too.
It was
It's kind of a draw.
close to be
Yeah.
number 1, and I'll tell you why it's not my number 1. It's a dumb reason, but like last year I had First Cow at number 1, and I just couldn't have
Another
last year be
farm
cow,
animal.
this year be pig. I just couldn't do it. I felt like I'd be boxing myself into a hole, you know?
Yeah.
Yeah, you don't want to be that guy.
Setting expectations for next year.
Yeah.
Yeah, I got to subvert
Um,
expectations.
Yeah.
I think this movie hits everything you were describing that you're like really looking forward in or looking for in movies. Like this movie took me by such a surprise because I had heard that it's like not really what you kind of expect, but this movie still is like it like filling my mind with like the creativity and like the humor behind just the concept of what this movie is just so special to me. Like it's, and I haven't even talked to any of you guys about it, so I don't even know. Like I just have my own thoughts, and I haven't listened to anyone talk about it. I don't know. Like
I don't know
maybe
if Brandon and Sean have seen it. Have you guys seen it? Yeah, see, they haven't seen
No,
it.
unfortunately, that's
Those
like
guys were
one of a
supposed
couple
to.
movies that I think could have made it
Those
on my
guys were
list.
Yeah.
supposed to review it over the summer. Like literally, it was on the schedule for them to review it, and then Sean went on a bike ride, and Brandon like had to like I don't know, write a paper or something,
Yeah.
and
I
like
mean, in our defense, we both thought that it was probably on.
oh, that's what
for
it was.
streaming.
Brandon
Yeah.
was like, Brandon was convinced it was on streaming, and
Yeah.
then Sean went on a bike ride, and then they couldn't review it because
That's
it
right,
wasn't
I
available
remember.
for them
Yeah.
to.
Yeah.
All right, well now it's on
I was
Hulu.
offended. I was offended. Just kidding.
Now it's on Hulu, so anyone can watch it.
Okay.
Yeah, it's really good. It's just like I don't want to get too far into like spoiler stuff, but it's got a really like unique I call it a sense of humor. I don't know what you really call it, but just the concept of like how this movie tackles like the Portland food scene is just so freaking brilliant, and like has so
What?
many
What?
Yeah,
like
that's
this
that's almost saying too much already.
yeah.
Derek.
What are we
But
talking
like
about?
it's like it's this movie that you really don't know what this movie is like for most of it, you
Yeah.
know, and it's kind of like a like a Heart of Darkness kind of thing where you just keep going deeper and deeper into it. Like it's kind of like Apocalypse Now, where you're just like kind of going into the heart of this thing.
Apocalypse
And
Now, but Portland food trucks.
Kind
not
of.
trucks,
Yeah,
but
not
like
trucks.
food, like foodie, like
Yeah,
like
foodie
foodie
culture.
stuff, like foodie culture. And
Wow.
but it's really just about a guy who loves his pig and
Yeah.
he's passionate about the things he loves.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
And Nicolas Cage is like incredible in it. I'd put him up for best actor for sure. And yeah, it's such a unique and weird movie that I had no idea. Like I had no idea. Like I don't know. Like I don't know how you come up with this concept for a movie. It's bizarre and it's amazing. And yeah, it's one of like the best viewing experiences I've had for a movie this year. And that was me watching it on my couch on Hulu by myself. It was incredible. So
I'm really enjoying Derek's list this year. He's got like all the crazy indie picks that he doesn't usually have on his top 10.
Jelly.
Yeah, that's not usually
This
there.
is like this is
Yeah.
not Derek's list.
yeah.
Yeah, dude, I loved pigs. I love pigs so much. I have it on Blu-ray, and it's I watched it the other day, and it's like, you know, talking like film criticism language. Like it's a slow movie, like in that it's like a meditation on like passion and simplicity and loss. It's like it's like not a lot of drama, but like it's quiet. It's a quiet movie, but also it's not slow. It's paced very well. It moves like scene to scene pretty quick. Even though it's a quiet movie, it trucks along, and it's short too. It's like 95 minutes, which is nice for a movie for what this movie's about. And yeah, I mean, I was like deeply moved by this movie, and I don't really want to say too much because these guys haven't seen it, but
Yeah.
like there you keep talking about the humor. There are definitely some really funny parts.
Yeah.
There's one scene specifically where like he asks a guy what he wanted to do with his life, and it's like it's so moving and funny, but it's weird though too. Yeah, there's nothing like this
Well,
movie. And then
when I say humor, I think about like the actual plot of what happens in this movie. I can't help but think that it's intended to be a humorous plot. You know what I mean? Like not on the emotional sides, but the actual physical things that happen in this movie. I can't help but feel it's kind of a satire, right? Like, did you get that at all? I kind of feel like it is, but I don't know. I haven't.
I mean,
I'd be
kind
curious
of.
about it.
What's the definition of a satire? Like,
I don't know, but
I-
it's like
it's
it's definitely.
it's like
I feel like it's making it without ever like stepping out of like totally emotionally grounded like stakes and stuff. I feel like it's making fun of something at the same time. You know what I mean?
it's definitely poking fun for
Yeah.
sure. It's definitely poking fun, but it's also like deeper than that because
For
it's
sure.
like also about like why you do the things that you do, and like if you're passionate about it, it would be worthwhile, right?
For
So
sure.
it's like poking fun at like doing something for the sake of doing something, or
Mhm.
for
Or because it's
the
popular and
notoriety
stuff.
of it.
Yeah.
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 But
I feel so
Yeah.
left out.
It's so good. You guys gotta watch
Yeah,
it.
me too. Yeah, this was
especially
one
though
of like two
going
movies
into
that-
it though too, it's like I was kind of expecting like I don't know what I was expecting, but like you hear about, okay, like this guy Nick Cage is like a loner, and he gets his pig stolen from him, and he needs to get revenge and get the pig back. You can't help but think of like Mandy. This is gonna be like another like ultra violent like Nick Cage fast where he's like screaming and doing whatever he can to get his pig back, and it just like that's the first way it subverts your expectations, is like, no, like
Yeah.
he's not really violent. It's not that movie.
Oh.
It's not.
Yeah.
But it is something special though. So that was both me and Derek's number 2, and that's Pig. So Shaun, what is your number 2?
My number 2 is Flea.
Okay, great.
Got it. That was my
Who,
number 9.
yeah, this movie is incredible. It is currently nominated for it's a documentary. It's nominated for Best Documentary. It's nominated for Best International Film, and it's nominated for Best Animated Feature Film. It's a documentary unlike anything I've ever seen before. I don't even know if I've heard of this before. I know that no movie has ever been nominated for Best Animated Film and Documentary at the same time, let alone all three. But it is such a unique way to tell this story. So yeah, it's about a man in Denmark who is telling the story of when he was a boy fleeing the Taliban in Afghanistan in the 90s, and kind of his long journey to come to where he is in present day, and it is emotionally, so impactful. It's a story that is so important, and it's like, of the year, it's the story that I think is, if you want to be if you want to be someone who has kind of thoughtful opinions about the present day, the world today, you need to see this movie. You need to know what people go through when they are, trying to make their lives better, or trying to flee persecution, or just flee for their lives. And it's it's so effective, but it's also so humanizing. And I think one thing that struck me was that the movie has a lot of layers of perspective that, we are watching this animated movie of a guy telling the story of him, and him reflecting as back on his childhood through today's lens, and but also, as someone just fleeing war in his country, but also as a gay boy who's coming to terms with his sexuality and trying to understand who he is, and at the same time trying to come to terms with what he's been through, and trying to understand how what he has been through is affecting his life today. And like that kind of circular, almost train of thought of the movie is so effective and so well done, that it almost feels intentional. I mean, it probably is, on some level, but it's just like, it's a documentary. It's real. It's not written by someone. This is someone's life, and it's absolutely incredible.
I liked what you said about everyone needs to see this film like this. It's a horrifying and incredible journey that he's able to finally retell to the world and for us to experience. And everyone should definitely check it out. But I agree with everything you said,
Shaun. It's also only 90 minutes, or around 90 minutes, so it's not overly arduous in any way, shape, or form. Not that a longer version of this movie would be arduous, but it is it's not an easy watch, but it's not a huge time.
It's not nearly as like I don't know. It's definitely emotional and important. I wouldn't say it's as like heavy as like I was anticipating, at least. Like I was kind of anticipating it to be like, very like depressing. And it's definitely emotional and stuff, but like I think there were more depressing, just straight up depressing movies that came out this year. And like just the honesty of this movie like really struck me. And I just really love the perspective. And I guess I don't know. I think maybe it was the animation for me that like put a little bit of a barrier on like being too depressed or something. But like the animation just like really was a really unique element of the movie.
I do kind of agree that it kind of smooths over the edges, I guess, for the movie. Perhaps a a more visceral, realistic portrayal of everything that happened would be more depressing and more kind of existentially devastating. But Brennan used the word horrifying. I mean, it's hard to to say that it's not a horrifying because he goes through so much stuff. I don't necessarily know that I would use the word horrifying, even though like the experience of what he goes through is horrifying. But it's not I don't want to like scare people away from it. Is what I'm trying to say. But yeah, it's an incredible movie. Highly recommend it.
So great movie. That was Flea. That was Shaun's number 2. So we already said my number 1 or my number 2. That was Pig. So let's move on to our number 1s. So Brandon, what is your number 1?
Do you guys all have
what
the same
is
number
going
1?
on, guys?
What is happening?
What is going on, guys?
Do it.
Am I the only one that has this as my number 1? My number 1 movie is Dune.
Punt. Me too.
Punt.
Punt, me too.
It was my number 8. No, my number 9. My number 9.
Oh, you did say Dune.
Yeah, he
okay,
did.
I messed up there.
Yeah, you guys had it earlier. Yeah.
There we go.
I
All
thought
right,
Nick
three of us
punted
had
it
on
too, but
No,
I don't have it in my top
Alright.
10. It's
What
in my
would-
top 20.
What would this year be without Denis Villeneuve on our number 1? like one movie he's directing, it kind of ends up sneaking up there. And this movie is no exception. Denis Villeneuve is one of the greatest directors of our era. Shaun, you had his his last film on your number 1 as well, or a few of us.
it was my number 2.
Arrival was my number 1.
Blade
Arrival.
Runner. Yeah,
That was my
Blade
number
Runner
one.
was my number 2.
Yeah.
Arrival was my number 1, and it was my number 1 of
Exactly.
the decade. Arrival was
So
my number
insane.
1 of the decade.
I think Sicario
but-
was like my number 2 also.
Yeah, I saw this movie in IMAX in like the biggest screen in New York, and everything you're looking at from start to finish in this film is like so incredibly creative and imaginative, and I just couldn't believe he was putting this on screen. It's just one of those blockbusters that is so fun to watch from start to finish, and also just like is it a feast for your eyes. Like the movie is remarkable in that way. There's very few movies on this size and scale that have been pulled off this well done. It's awesome seeing like a genre film like this, sci-fi, like we were saying, it got nominated for Best Picture, and we hope it wins, but genre films like this being done this well are always a treat, and I just can't deny myself putting that at number 1 because I had a blast seeing this, and it's also like perfection.
Mm-hmm.
That's it.
Yep.
Dune,
Totally
everyone already
agree.
knows it. Go see it again.
Yeah, I totally agree. It is a once in a generation film. Like on the scale of Lord of the Rings or Star Wars. I don't know.
It's so
But
big.
it's a huge epic genre film like this is rare, and I am having so much fun enjoying it. I cannot wait for the second one. And yeah, Denis Villeneuve is working at a level that is I guess it's his own, and he can do what he wants with it. It's yeah.
I was very
Absolute
skeptical about his last 2 movies. Like in my head, it's like how there's no way he's gonna pull these off. And both of them, it took me forever to watch, and both of them just completely blew me away when I finally watched them. And Dune was no exception. And yeah, it's gorgeous. It's just like it's so gigantic, and it's so cool. Like just learning about this like really complex story. I know I have a lot of friends that are huge fans of the books, and they're like so excited that somebody's finally like doing them justice. And
yeah, I asked my friend this weekend, Ben, who's a big fan of sci-fi books and has read this again recently and several times now. And I was like, so when we get to part 2, is it gonna just become too much? Like, I didn't really know the story, so I was asking, is part 2 gonna be able to hold it together? Like,
Yeah.
is he gonna be able to wrap this up correctly? And he was like, you know what? Like, when people say Dune is kind of an unfilmable story, they're actually mostly talking about the first half.
Yeah.
And we already saw the first half done this well.
Yeah.
So the next part is going to be the easy part for us.
And what's awesome,
I heard that the books get like pretty off the rails though, right?
That's
like,
what Ben Tweed told me 2 days ago.
I think in the sequels,
we'll see.
from what I understand,
I heard that as they go,
off
they get
the rails.
Yeah, I think the sequels go off the rails.
This is still the first like main book.
Yeah, it's still the first book.
Oh, sure. Okay.
But what I really is impressive about this movie too is that he doesn't lose like the thing that he brings to the table, which is like on a scene to scene, like specifically the thing that really stands. And I haven't talked to anyone about this movie, especially you guys, but is like the sandworm attack. Mm-hmm. Like after that scene, I'm like, okay, I can breathe again. And like it's just such a like it reminded me of like the crossing the border in like Sicario and stuff. It's like like the amount of like how tense he is able to like make like a scene like that. And it's like what you're seeing on screen, it seems like it's such a tall task to be able to deliver a scene like that where it's kind of like an action scene, you know.
Yeah, he's been doing it since Prisoners or before. Like,
yeah.
And you see parts of that in these epic movies he's doing now.
You're like, he still has, that's what he brings to the table is like, I'm going to get you the story of what the scene, everything you need to understand about the sandworm, about the spice, about this like machine, about like everything. But I'm also going to bring like that extra layer of like, you're not going to be able to breathe during this scene.
I'm also going to make you stop breathing.
Yeah. It's going to be the most intense thing you've watched all year.
Yeah.
And that's kind of what really brought the movie up into my top 10 for me.
Yeah. Also, I think for this movie, and which is the same as Blade Runner 2049, I think pretty much every scene of this movie, I was seeing something that I'd never seen before on film. Like the way he would light a scene, the way he would shoot, you know, maybe the explosions, or the way he would shoot the action. Just something about the visuals. It's just like, that is so incredibly unique and interesting. And, you know, it's hard to do, you know, 100 years after films have been going, you know, it's pretty rare to do as a filmmaker.
Yeah.
Two birds with one stone.
It wasn't
No, it was not my top 10. No.
Top 20?
I mean, it honestly almost didn't make my top 20. Like I kind of like put it in my top 20 as like an obligation or something. You know, I like, my argument against this movie is really the most boring thing, and it's just that like it's half a movie, and it's that thing that didn't need to bother me, except the way the spot they chose to end the movie was extremely bothersome to me. Like that, like I didn't think that final climax was very well done. Like it wasn't the climax of the movie for me. There were other way more exciting things that happened in the movie, and it just kind of felt like, well, we need to end it here because this is where the script ends. And that just, you know, I have a hard time committing fully to it because of how deflated I felt. I was so enthralled with most of the movie, and then, you know, such great world building and, you know, cinematography and all that stuff, and then just like, okay, you know, I guess maybe there's gonna be another one. So yeah.
It's true. At the time, we didn't necessarily know that there was going to be another one.
Mm-hmm.
That's not even the point, though. Is that like I still have to wait 2 years, and like, and I'm not even like you know, Lord of the Rings, like those ones all ended at great spots. Kill Bill ended at a great spot. You know.
And we knew that like 6 months to a year later, we were going to get another one.
It's not. I'm not saying that's not really like. There is going to be another one now. We know there's going to be another one now. That's nice. But like, it's just like I just feel like where they chose to end it was prime, like to like let us, like people like me, go like, why did you end it there? You know, like I was literally like, just it was just very off-putting, and I wish they gave the movie like another hour. Like honestly, like couldn't this have been like at least another half hour? You know, like this movie was 2.5 hours, which is long, but like most blockbusters this year were 2.5 hours. This could have been 3 hours, and it would have been a better movie in my opinion. But also, I don't know the stories, so maybe not. Maybe that was the only logical stopping point. But like, all right, like,
I think that's fair.
all right.
I think that's probably why it's not higher up on my list. Because yeah, it kind of like fizzles out, and then the movie ends. You're like, all right, but I guess it just didn't really have that much of an effect on me. But yeah, it wasn't like we've been talking about some other movies that really punch like down on the ending. You're just like, heck yeah, that's how you end a movie. This was nowhere near that. It was definitely just like, okay,
like,
movie's over. Can't wait for the next one. Yeah.
I did give this movie 4.5 stars, which the only reason I did that is because like it does depend on the sequel nailing it, or not even just nailing it, but it depends on a
Living
quality
up to
sequel.
this one, at least.
Yeah, living up to it. And but I don't know. At this point, I'm kind of fully expecting it to live up to it. Maybe that's not fair, but you know,
Oh, it
Denis
will.
Villeneuve
It will.
has
Denis
not,
Villeneuve
he
will
has
do
not
great.
been.
It'll be wonderful. It'll be great. And like, you know,
Everyone's gonna love
the
it.
next one will win all the Oscars. Hopefully,
Yeah,
it'll do a
yeah.
Return of the King and just like
Yep.
Do a
dominate. But
victory lap.
again, I just feel like they could have ended it stronger, which like left people more sad. As how Kill Bill Volume 1 ends, and you're like, you know, the daughter is still alive, and you're like,
Uh-oh.
I felt like they walked away or something. Like they just kept walking. They just could have done something different with the ending that would have
In
you
its
know,
defense,
made it go my top 10. Instead, it's in my top 20. So you know, whatever.
Yeah.
I'm just a
In
hater
its
over
defense,
here. So.
I will say I think that it does end on a strong character moment, or at least a meaningful character moment for Timothée Chalamet, his character.
Yeah, for sure.
But I do think there is some logic. I can see where it's can be a little jarring though.
All right.
So yeah,
Okay.
that was Dune. That was Brandon and Sean's number one. So Derek, what is your number one?
My number one was The Last Duel. I think everyone had this on their list, right? You guys just had it much.
Yes.
I think this
Yeah.
is the only one
Wow.
where it's on
Yeah.
All of
everyone's
our
list.
lists.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah.
This was my favorite movie I watched this year, easily. I didn't watch a lot of movies in theaters this year, but this was my favorite like theater going experience. It was probably one of the biggest surprise because you know, Ridley Scott's great, but you know, he's
It's
hit
been
and
a
miss.
while.
Yeah, it's been a while, and he hasn't done like a movie this solid, I feel like, in a long time. Honestly, it's probably one of my favorite Ridley Scott movies, and yeah, it's a gorgeous movie. I think it's a unique like story to tell in the time period and the setting that it does it in. All the actors are great, and it's you know, Ben Affleck and Matt Damon, and there was a I hate to not name all the writers, but like it was kind of cool that
I'll
like
look it up.
those two at least got back together as Nicole Holofcener. I don't know how to say your last name.
Yeah.
But anyways, they were the three writers, and you know, we haven't had a Ben Affleck, Matt Damon, you know, behind the camera
Joint.
joint since that one movie,
Good Will Hunting.
Good Will
too.
Hunting.
Yeah.
Yeah. So
Hunting season.
hunting season. So
Goodwill Hunting too.
yeah, it's you know, I think that's pretty cool. And yeah, I mean, me and Brandon did a pretty in-depth, I think, discussion on the movie, but about what I liked and stuff. But it's really, really good, and it's so disheartening and disappointing that this movie didn't get nominated for anything, I think, right?
Yeah, I don't recall
Well, it didn't
nothing.
make
None of
any
the big
money.
ones.
It bombed. It was
It
like
did.
the biggest bomb of the year. It
Yeah.
bombed so hard.
Yeah.
But
Really overlooked.
Yeah.
I can't believe this is like I had this movie at like number 5, and I was the lowest on here. Like this is crazy. You
Yeah.
guys
Yeah, I have
like
mine as well.
yeah, this movie's great. I loved your guys' episode, by the way. Like I remember listening to it, and it was just like you guys covered it, and you know, it does the like the Rashomon thing where it's covering different perspectives. Except like Rashomon like kind of feels like a dream a little bit. Like it's kind of like
It's pretty over the top. Like
yeah, it's
it's
over the
pretty
top.
exaggerated stories. And,
Yeah, it's very muddy. You know, it's just kind of like yeah, it's kind of like this is what the movie's doing. You know, it's very much just like the concept of the movie is laid out. You know, it's like a bottle episode or something. And I feel like what made this movie so good is that it, all the perspectives are like given time and thoughtfulness. And you know, I kind of feel like you know having a women like you know the 3 writers having a Nicole Holo Festner, like I feel like her part was probably crucial to have her touch in the writer's room, because the third story was so important to the overall point of the movie. And you know, like I was listening to the Slash Film top 10 earlier, and they were talking about how this movie, like the perspective, like the point of this movie is that they're you know everyone has their own perspectives, but there is like a truth.
Yeah.
And that was like pretty evident with that third story and how much like more subtle it was than the other ones. And even like the coloring and stuff were different. And I don't know, I'm all back in on Ridley Scott. I just like I'm just so proud of this guy for being like 88 and just like how old is he? Just
I think you're
making
right.
movies like this still.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's
definitely.
crazy that in the same year we get The Last Duel by Ridley Scott, which is just like one of his best films, probably, looking back at his filmography. And also House of Gucci, which everyone just dismissed immediately.
Dude, House of Gucci was so good though.
Which made so much more money
Weird
too.
as
I didn't
weird
see
as
it, but-
fuck.
He's
That one
84.
got shut
Oh,
out too, though. Like Lady Gaga should have been nominated for Best Actress for that one too. He just
Yeah,
um,
but it's awesome. He's still somehow at the top of his game, just churning out incredible films like this.
he's
And
84
yeah,
by the way. Just looked it up.
84 years old. Yeah, I put this at my number 5, and it was we had a great discussion about it, Derek. Check out that episode. Obviously, this is one of the best movies of the year.
Yep. I had it at 5 as well. It's
We had a
second,
triple 5?
third,
What's going on?
quadruple everything you guys just said.
I had it
It's
at number 6.
incredible.
I had it.
Yeah. You gave it 5 points on the list, but you had it at number 6.
One thing we didn't mention though either yet is that you know the duel in this movie, you know the title of the movie, The Last Duel, is
It
so
lives
good.
up to
Like
its name.
Fucking
like
awesome. Yeah.
like as good as anything in Gladiator, in my opinion. Like it was so good.
Yeah.
Yep. Yeah, I guess what I'll add to what everyone said is like, yeah, when that third story hits, I think that the movie really does take on a new level of depth than it did before. Like I thought I really enjoyed the first 2. I was, you know, fully on board for it, and then like the third story kind of really did take it to a whole new level, and it started doing, you know, kind of started revealing what the movie was actually doing in its storytelling, and it became something that had a lot more to say, and that it was doing a lot more things on many more levels than I had even realized in the first 2. You know, like you said, there is a truth to the movie, and the movie clearly does come down hard on that point that one of these stories is the truth. And I think the movie shows that by all of a sudden the movie is so much more complex, and the characters are so much more well-rounded and believable as actual human beings. Yeah, like the movie just takes on this complexity where it's like, oh, okay, so this is real life. This is now not just what people say or think about themselves or you know, or their world. This is actually the real world, and the real world is messy and complex and ugly and gross, and yeah. So this, I totally agree. This movie was doing some incredible, interesting things, and yeah, really great movie.
Yeah.
Well said.
So that was Derek's number one, The Last Duel, and it's on HBO Max right now. If anyone want to watch. Okay, so we already did Shaun's number one. So my number one is The Worst Person in the World.
Wow.
Oh,
Yeah, Nick punted that a while ago on me.
Wow. I
forgot.
totally
Can't believe
forgot.
it kept picking up.
Yeah. I feel like Derek does this often on Letterboxd, where you just you give something 5 stars because you feel it,
Yeah.
And that's how I was with this movie. I just was so basically like in love with this movie. I just loved so much about my experience watching it. I loved the characters. I loved the complexity between them. I loved that this was a coming of age story for someone who's slightly older than where most coming of age stories take place. It's like about a young woman who's basically like trying to like find herself and trying to figure out what she wants from the world. And she makes some dumb choices, and you kind of just like go on the ride with her. And it's like about like how people see things differently or see relationships differently. And I do think there's like a lot of like themes that echo between The Worst Person in the World and Drive My Car, in that like you don't always know like what's going on inside of other people, like the truth that they're experiencing, but you need to like experience the truth yourself, and you need to find like what works for you. And I just love how like in the beginning of the movie, she's kind of just going through and just doing whatever. And um by the end, it's like she's like grappling with like real stuff and real like a lot of real feelings there. And yeah, I just was just thoroughly in love with this movie. I just thought it was like kind of it was probably like the most like, I don't want to say fun necessarily, but it was kind of like everything I said earlier. It was kind of like that had everything I love about movies like all rolled into one. So
Yeah, I kind of want to add on to it because I put this on my top 10 as well. Like you're talking a lot about the characters and stuff. To add on to that, I wanted to bring up the way the story's told in like 12 chapters and how the movie is fun to watch. It has a great pace through its runtime, and it's super engaging and entertaining, along with being about so much. So that is also what really got me and why I rated it so high. The script is great, and the way it's broken up and the way the story is told has a good pace.
Yeah, and there's some really magical moments in there and stuff too.
For sure. This is definitely a movie that barely didn't make my list.
Have you seen this before we talked about it, Nick, or just after? I kind of wish. Had you seen it before the last episode, or just this last week?
Oh,
Nick?
I saw this like in December or something.
Yeah, I
Oh,
was
damn,
the
okay,
only.
okay.
We were
I've seen it
kind of waiting for me to see it. I was the last
Okay,
one.
okay.
Somehow you all saw it way before.
Yeah, now it's Nick's number one.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, that's awesome.
So
Nice.
yeah, so that was my number one. I check it out. It's in theaters now. So yeah, it's The Worst Person in the World, and she's not the worst person in the world. It's,
Spoiler alert.
No, I think it's more like that feeling that you have that you're the worst person in the world when you're in, 24 or something.
Or it's it's about making decisions for yourself. Taking control of your life and making the decisions that you think are going to make your life better. And sometimes that means you hurt other people, and it's about coming to terms. That's kind of what I thought the movie was about. It's about coming to terms with that kind of stuff. And
yeah, well said. Cool. So yeah, that was our top 10. We've been keeping score over here on our little spreadsheet. Shaun, is it up to date completely?
Keep talking, Nick. I'm gonna just go over it one more time and make sure I have
The Last Duel might just take it here. I don't know.
I mean, Last Duel has to be the dominator since we all had it on our list and it was super high. But yeah, like again, it was a great year. There are a few movies that like we didn't even talk about at all. You know, Spider-Man didn't make any of our lists, or
Yeah, I was
Encanto, In the
expecting that to
I
be
was
Heights.
here.
surprised. Yeah, I thought Spider-Man was going to be on someone's list.
Yeah, I mean, I considered it, but
Do you want to
yeah,
know what my
So
number
I
11
kind
was?
of looked. What,
Was it
Spider-Man?
Spider-Man?
No, it was moving between 10 and 11, but Malignant.
Yep, Malignant was one I really wanted to get me. I kind of feel like I had Benedetta there instead of Malignant, you know, like that was kind of that pick.
You
I
guys
wanted to
reviewed
put,
that, just the two of you, right?
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
I think so.
I was kind of surprised no one had West Side Story on their list. I kind of thought Sean maybe you would have, or Brandon,
Yeah,
but
no,
like,
I loved that movie. I really enjoyed it.
yeah.
Try not to look at your filtered. I want to hear it.
Yeah, don't
First
look.
time.
I'm ready
So-
though. If you guys are ready.
Yeah, let's do it.
Yeah. Should we like? Do you want me to like, you know, like, yeah? I'll
Nick, you do the numbers.
I'll-
Sean does the name.
Yeah. Okay. So
Well,
our number 10 movie of the year.
Real quick, I'll just say like this is our combined number 10 is our if we put it out on our number 10, it's worth 1 point. If we put it on our as number 1, it's worth 10 points. We also gave extra points if it appeared on multiple lists. So if it appeared on all 4 of our lists, it was worth 3 points. If it appeared on 2 lists, worth an extra 1 point. So that's kind of how we did it.
Does a tie go to if it's higher on the list? On a list?
I don't know.
Do we have any
I guess
ties?
yeah, we do have a tie. So I guess the tie would go to the one that where it's on more lists. Want to do it that way?
Or higher up?
Oh yeah. That's better. Yep.
Cool.
I highlighted the one that needs to be flipped. There.
And that one does too. Oh wait, no, never mind.
Nope. All right, go for it.
Okay, our number 10 movie is
With 12 points, Titan. With 12
Titan.
points,
Titane.
Titanic.
18.
Our number 9 movie is
Spoiled for you, The Suicide Squad, with 12 points as well.
our number 8 movie is
Lee,
our number 7 movie is
with 14 points, The Worst Person in the World.
okay. I'm sorry, we did 10, 9, 8, 7. Number 6 movie is
The French Dispatch with 15 points. Is that? Yep. No, actually, I'm sorry.
our number 5 movie is
The Green Knight with also 15 points.
okay, our number 4 movie is
Pig with 19 points.
okay. Our number
I didn't do that right. Doesn't matter.
we have 3 movies left. What okay, our number
What is happening?
our number 3
I don't know why we did it this way, Brandon.
Oh my god.
our number 3
Anyways.
movie is
Our number 3 is. Oh no, we skipped Pig
no.
though.
No, you just said pig. He just
Did
said
I? I
you
thought I
said
just
Pig.
said the Green Knight. Did
No,
I just say
you
Pig?
said Pig.
Okay, it's Pig. All right. The Power of the Dog, number 3.
and our number 2
19
movie
points.
is
Dune, which means
our number 1 movie is
with 30
By far.
points, The Last Duel. I did not expect that.
yeah, neither did I. I did not see The Last Duel being our number 1 movie of the year.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's what it was. So
Yeah,
um
that's awesome.
cool. Great
Congrats
list,
to Ridley
guys.
Scott.
I'd say that, you know, we get like a solid, you know, B plus A minus on the episode. The movie's getting A because it's a great movie year. I think me and Sean got a combined C minus on listing off the movies.
Yeah. Barely.
But
Barely.
you know,
we got there,
but
so
that
I guess
doesn't
it is
matter.
passing grade.
well, we passed because we were able to say all of them. So,
Mhm. Yeah.
but yeah. So this was a long episode though, so we should be getting going. But you know, thanks for doing this, guys. It's always super fun going over our end of the year lists.
Good
So-
list, good movies,
Surprising.
good year.
So yeah, take care of yourself and your loved ones, and have a great rest of your day. Peace out.
Later.